So the WWE Unreal official teaser was released. Now, here's the thing. I was going to do a reaction to this teaser, but I'm scared that Netflix is going to hit me with a copy strike, okay? As a content creator, that is one of the scariest things that can happen to you. So I'm going to talk about the concept of the show and the conversation surrounding it. Netflix, I don't want no problems. Please be easy, all right? So if you don't know what this show is, this is a documentary coming out on Netflix this summer, and it's going to pull the curtain so you can see behind the scenes of what the process is of creating a WWE show. They're going to give you a visual of the writer's room, of the production room, all these different things so you can see what happens behind the scenes. Now, the interesting thing about this show is I've seen a lot of comments, I've seen a lot of people reacting to it, and people hate the fact that this show exists. They hate that it's coming out. A lot of people have regurgitated the idea that this show is going to single-handedly kill kayfabe. And if people feel that way, that's cool, to each their own. But for me, I'm not going to lie, I'm confused. I'm confused about that idea. Because you're going to try to tell me that as long as Wrestling Observer has been around, as long as the dirt sheets has been around, as long as people have been, leaking things on Twitter, that in 2025, in the middle of 2025, this is what's going to kill kayfabe single-handedly? I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. Like, people can have, they can feel the way they feel about certain things, but there are certain things, especially as of lately when it comes to wrestling, I feel like some people are just mad just to be mad. Like, I don't understand it. And if you want to be mad, that's cool, but I don't understand that concept. Especially for us as grown adults, especially if you've been watching wrestling for a long time. We know this show is scripted. We know it takes a whole production team to develop these shows. Even in our verbiage, online, in person, when we talk about pushes, when we talk about burials, when we talk about booking, all that stuff, that tells you that we know that there is a production team behind this entire thing. So how is this going to kill kayfabe? It makes no sense at all to me. I don't get it, and I've heard several people tell me this. Now, for me, really quick, kayfabe was killed for me when I was a kid. Okay, when I found out that The Rock and Triple H really didn't want to kill each other, that was devastating. I was so devastated, I didn't play Pokemon Blue for 2 weeks. I couldn't catch them all for 14 days because I had to reevaluate life because I found out that wrestling was scripted. But I don't think this show is going to give people that feeling. Like I said, we know that it's scripted. We know that. So what exactly are people talking about? Now, for me personally, I'm not watching the show. It's not that I think it's bad. It is interesting to know what goes on behind the scene, but I like to personally preserve that a little bit part of my childhood that wants to watch wrestling as a fan. I like creating content as a fan. I like watching wrestling as a fan. I don't like to pretend that I'm an expert as if I've ever worked in a business because I never have. I never have. And I don't want to know all the inner workings. That's why I'm not on X or Twitter. That's why when people send me articles like, oh, the belief is, or rumor has it, or people think, or what's the other one? Or there is belief, or this person's going to come back, or all these different things. That's why I don't read that stuff. Because I want to be surprised as a fan. I don't want to be one of those people that get so deep into the rumors and stuff like that and expect something to happen and it doesn't happen and it ruins the whole show for me. Because for all we know, a lot of these rumors and stuff is not even real. Or I don't want them spoiling things for me. I remember when I went to Royal Rumble this year, and I don't know if you guys have heard this story, but after I got out of watching the show personally, I looked on Instagram and a post said, oh, Alexa Bliss was spotted backstage. She's going to show up at Royal Rumble. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, cool. I like the fact that they're, telling us after the fact. But come to find out, that post was posted on Instagram 30 minutes before Royal Rumble even started. So imagine if you was a fan of Alexa Bliss and you flew all the way out to Indianapolis to watch that show just for the surprise of her showing up, and you just so happen to go on Instagram and you see that, that'll ruin it for you. That'll ruin it for you. So for me, I'd rather stay away from that type of stuff. Now, there's some things that I think that this show can do positively. All right, if this displays, not just the inner workings of the show and show how hard it is to develop these shows. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to pretend like WWE does everything perfect. They do some weird stuff sometimes, stuff that makes no sense at all. But hopefully it shows how much work goes behind this. Because for a person who's probably an aspiring writer for any wrestling promotion or maybe WWE, maybe it inspired them like, oh, this is how much work it takes to get into this. Okay, maybe it's more than I thought it would be, and I'm prepared to take on that challenge if the opportunity comes my way. Maybe it inspires someone to work for a smaller promotion or an indie promotion to kind of do some production or writing or stuff there to eventually get to their dream to work for WWE or maybe another bigger promotion like AEW or something like that. And on the flip side, and I'm not trying to take shots, maybe this will show how hard it is to work behind the scenes for people who believe that they're like experts when it comes to booking. And I do this sometimes. Like you sit at home and you believe, oh, it's easy to fantasy book this stuff because I'm sitting at home relaxing with no distractions or anything like that. I can sit and do this with my eyes closed. But maybe it'll show how hard it is. I don't know if you guys saw the interview with Triple H on the Andrew Schultz show. I think it's called Flagrant. And he talked about when he was pitching ideas to Vince McMahon, and he wasn't even fully on the creative staff. He was talking about they would get up early in the morning and stay out late at night. Sometimes they'll have to drive hours away in order to sit down and flesh out these ideas. Some ideas get shot down and things like that. But it would take basically all day to figure some of this stuff out. Now, I know some of the results of the story, you'd be like, there's no way they spent all day to write this. This is really bad. But just the work that goes behind it, it is a lot. And maybe it'll show a lot of people who think they know or think they're experts behind it that it ain't as easy as you think. It's a lot easier to sit at home and figure this stuff out as opposed to being in an office full of a bunch of people who are tired and, bouncing all ideas off the wall 24/7. And again, I'm not excusing bad decisions that WWE make. You would think that if you are working on something that hard, that you would come up with some things better. But it isn't as easy as people make it out to be at the end of the day. That's basically what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad that this exists. Again, I'm not going to watch it. Hopefully the people who do get something good out of it, hopefully it's a good documentary. If you're going to watch it, hey, just let me know in the comment section. How do you feel about this show existing? Will you watch it? Are you interested in this? Let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Salute. Peace. Have a great day. Stay positive.